Good evening, everyone. Hello everyone and welcome to another round of the season here for Invictus Racing League here with the Realistic Performance League. We are about to go live and racing. The countdown has already started for round 11 of the season here in Shanghai in China around this 5.451 kilometre circuit, 16 corners coming up ahead, and the drivers have got plenty of different challenges available to them around this very fascinating circuit, one steeped in quite a lot of history, considering that it's 20 years old this year. It's hosted quite a lot of Formula One events, and boy have we got some action ready for you for tonight here in RP. I'm Jack TM53, your commentator as always for the championship, and it's a delight to be back after our mid-season break last week, and we're here today racing once again. So we're just going to run through very quickly. Hopefully we can get these available for everybody in terms of the championship standings after the last round 2 weeks ago. Merck leads the way on 263 points. He is 46 clear of Ryan in second place. Owen is now up to third thanks to his good results last week on 178. Cameron is fourth on 176, and MDJ is fifth on 159. It looks like we've got a wet race for the sprint. That's going to be fascinating to see how the drivers can adapt. It looks like it's green Pirelli tyres, judging by the conditions we've got on screen at the moment. We will see in a few moments' time whether that transpires to be the case. I can't tell you whether the rain's going to get any heavier. I hope it gets drier. I hope we have a split race at some point. Maybe it spices up a little bit. In terms of the constructors, the teams championships, it's a Sella leading the way on 420 points. Bottom Gear overtook AGS 2 weeks ago. They're on 354. AGS are on 350. Fast Cats are on 239. And guess who's back in the Ferraris? Are on 179. Joe's Off Sandwich is 6th on 177. Our pit lane reporter, aka Mr. Potato, has told us that it is getting drier as it goes on, so maybe someone lower down the field will want to have a little bit of a gamble here and try and go for the dry compound tyres early on. Whether that'll be worth it, we'll find out. We saw in the Tier 4 race earlier this week, it was wet for the majority of the Grand Prix, but it wasn't actually wet enough to go onto the Pirelli intermediate tyre. So who knows, maybe it'll dry up, but it won't dry quickly enough before the end of the first sprint race. I say first sprint race because it's the only sprint race of the evening before we go into the feature. And of course the grid already set for RP. Of course the unique positioning of the league in terms of how it's set. We actually have Joe Hamster on pole position this evening with SFR Martin in second. Spud and Keza are third and fourth. You've got Simon Palmer and Cameron on the third row of the grid. Atsu and Ryan on the fourth row. So Ryan starting in eighth place. One of the championship protagonists alongside Merck. Speaking of, Owen and Merck are on the fifth row of the grid. Then you've got Nitro, Phantom, Kent, MDJ and Ginger Tiger rounding out the rest of the drivers. So we're just moments away from the start of this Grand Prix here in China. Like I said, his first race in 2004, if my memory serves me correctly. It was Rubens Barrichello beating Jenson Button that day to be the inaugural Chinese Grand Prix winner. Funnily enough, that year, Michael Schumacher set the fastest lap of the race. But we don't need to worry about the past. It's the present now for the third part of the season here in Invictus for the sprint. And the race is live here in the wet conditions at China. It looks like a good start from the Mercedes of Joe Hamster. He takes the lead into turn one. There's Martin there, Keza, there's Simon Palmer and Cameron going side by side into this very long and sweeping turns 2, 3 and then 4. subsequently. Looks like everybody's behaving themselves quite nicely through this corner. Then it's about getting on the power. Huge slide from Martin, who's got the lead of the Grand Prix. We didn't see it. We were focused elsewhere, but Joe is not giving this up into the braking zone at turn 6. Oh, that's a big lunge from Simon Palmer. And I don't think Kez will be too happy about that. There's absolute carnage going on around the circuit. It's Cameron we're on board with. He's got Ryan right behind him in the Williams. Mercked up to 6th already. So the two championship protagonists right next to one another. And look at this. This is what I was saying before, everybody. Everyone is running on the dry compound tyres by the looks of things. Let's get the detail up. Yes, everybody is running the dries. And that's Atsu facing the wrong way in the left-hander at turn number 7. That's the Alpine of Simon. Simon looked like he's got some grip in these early phases of the Grand Prix, but Cameron said thank you very much. And he's going to go on through and into the podium places. Simon won't want to give this up, though. He's already on the battery. Oh, but wheel-to-wheel banging down the back straight. This is a huge straight. You don't want to have any contact down here. They're going to be almost two. I thought it was going to be 3 abreast, but we're looking at the camera angle a little bit differently. But it's Simon braking a little bit later than the Haas on the inside. And Cameron runs a little bit too deep. There's still greasy conditions. And Simon goes back through those soft tyres, working well in this opening phase of the race. So good fighting. Nice slide from Keza outside the corner, fighting with Owen. He loses a spot to the Alfa Romeo. He's got Nitro Gas for company as they go towards turn 1. He can run a few lines. Saruman and Cameron are still fighting over that place for 3rd spot. We're watching Nitro go on the inside of Keza. Keza's not going to be afforded much room and he has to back out of it. Merckx still trying to find his way through his championship rival, but he can't get down on the power quick enough. These conditions still clearly causing a bit of havoc. And look at these two. Simon, oh, was that a little bit of a rear lock-in for Cameron? He got away with that. Look at Merckx showing some really good form already in these opening stages. The championship leader is desperately... Big snap of oversteer. And I think there was contact between himself and MDJ. I just saw Merckx go sideways. I wonder if they both had a bit of front wing to rear diffuser contact. But sadly, it's facing MDJ the wrong way. And he's dropped all the way down to 12th. So Nightmare and that's Atsu out of the race already. So we didn't see what happened to him first of all, but he is out of the race. But Joe Hamster still leading the way, scrambling for grip on those soft tyres. And that's the thing, in these conditions, the soft tyres aren't going to wear as badly as they would have done typically. They're not going to be overheating, churning through the tyre grip. And they might just hold on for a little bit longer, those softs, compared to what would be a typically dry race. There's more contact between Simon and Cameron. I don't think they're too happy about each other's fighting at the moment, but I think that's the leaning on one another. This is so close. Merck's gone past Ryan as well. They're side by side through the final corner. More wheel-to-wheel contact, and they survive to fight another day. But Merck has an opportunity to look for an overtake. He's going to have the slipstream from Cameron in front of him as he looks to the outside line of Simon, but contact again, and Owen's up the inside too. He could get 2 here, and he might just do, but Merck's holding that inside line for turn 3. He stays in front, just about. Ryan's trying to get his grip effectively to put the power down. It's so slippy right now here in China, but Owen stays in front. Oh, a lot of rear locking going on already in this race, so clearly the brake bias has been set backwards a little bit. Kent is in the pit as we talk. The front 7 also. Oh, that is the Alpine of Simon. He's gone. He's in the wall, and that's a front wing gone. And Kent has retired just as we watch that. Is that a virtual safety car? It looks like it is. It's a virtual safety car, and that front wing of Simon Palmer's has caused this VSC completely shorn off. I'm amazed he survived, actually. It's a very quick part of the circuit there at turn 7. But Simon survives. He's going to drop outside the top 10. Well, he is already outside the top 10, but he's going to drop very far away. He's going to be last comfortably. But of course, whilst this is going on, Joe Hamster leads the way. They've got I say they currently have a gap to Cameron, but that might be because of the deltas that we get sometimes here in F1 23. They can be a little bit dodgy. The gap's gone out to 2 seconds, so that might change. And I wonder if Simon, Palmer and Ginger Tiger just had a swap of places and then back round again. Wonder what happened there. Let's clock that in the bottom part of the timing tower. And yeah, they're swapping places again, so not quite certain why they're doing that. But wow, a very unbelievable opening part of this race. It's been absolutely dramatic so far. So many fights on circuit. We just saw Simon Palmer shoot off in the background into the pit lane. So, lap 4 of the sprint. We are live again. And that looks noticeably drier now than what it did before. So it looks like that these dry compound tyres are going to start to heat up a little bit more as the conditions get drier. That's Cameron braking a little bit too late. In fact, putting himself under a bit more pressure there with Merckx. Lives to fight another day for that podium spot. But Joe is in the lead of this race. Don't forget, Joe won a sprint race earlier this season. See whether he can add a second one to his pile, but he's got a huge amount of pressure behind him from SFR Martin, from Cameron and Merckx. These guys all know how to win races, and so does Joe for that matter, but that is a lot of intense scrutiny behind him. Owen's a little bit further back. That's side by side from Cameron and Merckx into that turn. That's quick left and right through turns 11 and 12. And now we go barreling down towards this main straight here. Joe trying to defend as best as he can. We've got DRS wide open because look at that now. It's completely bone dry. And that is Martin on the inside. Joe's going to have the better line for traction on the exit of the corner. But a little wiggle. And that signals the end of the switching of places for first. And that's Martin into the lead of the race. So great driving. Oh, and Joe's gone a little bit slow off the corner. Cameron looking very quick, but the DRS and a bit of battery is going to help Joe move forward. And forget just moving forward, it's into the lead of the race. Oh, a bit of contact again going on. Cameron's going to try and go past the pair of them. This could be a brilliant overtake from Cameron, and he does. They were watching each other, and that's contact from Merckx, and he sent Joe round. He won't be pleased about that at all, but it is great driving from Cameron despite the carnage. He's got the lead of the race. They were too busy watching each other. Fantastic. Owen and Ryan are now together on circuit. The camera angles are dreadful for whatever reason. Merckx ghosted then for whatever reason. Don't know if there was contact, but in any case, what a great bit of driving that was from the Haas of Cameron Searle. He's got the lead of the race. He'll be delighted with that overtake. Managed to catch that one. A nice sneaky move up the inside at turns 1 and 2. But Martin and everybody else are not the type to give up. And Cameron, I'll tell you something, Cameron is absolutely flying. He's 2 seconds clear. He's got some pace tonight in that car, and Merckx is already going to be going past Martin before we get to the drag reduction system, which is activated, and sure enough he's through. It's going to be very tough for Martin to try and hold on. We're watching Owen, who's going to follow in the slipstream as best as he can with the AlphaTauri ahead, but he's not close enough to make a move. Is he up the inside of Martin? Little bit of contact again between the two drivers. A lot of wheel-to-wheel contact tonight. It's not normally a contact sport, but Martin lives to fight another day, and he's in the pit, so I wonder if Martin has got damage, because that's a lot of time he lost in one lap. Cameron, fastest lap of the race, he's a second and a half clear of Merckx. Then it's Owen. The 3 medium tyre runners lead the race. It's Keza, then it's Ryan, it's Nitro, it's Ginger and MDJ in terms of the top 8 scoring points, but Sir Spud is right in the thick of it, so good to see the Tier 4 driver right in the thick of the action. Same with Nitro Gash as well. Good to see these guys really fighting hard with the fellow Tier 2, Tier 1 drivers around them. Great to see. Atsu saying his wheel's not working. That is a shame. That's why Atsu is out of the race. That is unfortunate for you. Hopefully you can get it sorted. The Mercedes driver is currently out. Well, Cameron leads the way. It's Merckx. Then it's Owen within a second. But this is the closest fight on circuit. Ryan and Keza for 4th place. It always seems to be the thing with Ryan in the sprints, is that it either goes one way or the other when in relation to Merckx. And if Merckx gets right up behind him, Ryan just doesn't have the opportunity to keep the AlphaTauri driver behind, the championship leader. Not yet won a race this season has Ryan. He's won the sprint, but not a feature race so far. But he'll have DRS on the McLaren in front of him, and he'll close that gap right the way down. He won't be close enough for a move as far as I can tell. He is not. And he just slots in behind for now. A little bit of a wobble on the exit for the Williams. But fair play to Keza. He's actually closed that gap to Owen as well. He's got it within a second. So both of these guys now are going to be fighting for the last spot on the podium. Speaking of the podium, Merck, new fastest lap of the race in the AlphaTauri, second, and he's less than at 1 second behind Cameron. So watch out on this lap to see whether the championship leader can take another sprint race victory. He's been absolutely flying this season, has Merck. But great battling on circuit, and that's Simon Palmer with a new fastest lap of the race. So those that are on new soft tyres, including Martin, he must have had damage from contact. He will be flying as well, but unless there's a safety car on this lap, I can't see anything changing, unfortunately, for those guys outside of the top 10. Merck, though, within half a second of Cameron in front of him. Will ride on board with the number 80 driver. Oh, big snap of oversteer from Cameron, and that is going to promote all the opportunities that Merck would have wanted. Cameron not deploying the battery. He's going to shape a little bit, but he's not going to be able to do much. It's Merck taking the lead of the race then. Into P1 he goes. Cameron there in second. Looking a bit further back. Keza and co not quite close enough to challenge Owen just yet. Oh, but then again, Owen runs a bit deep on the exit of turn number 14. There could be a chance here for Keza if he gets the line right. I've got to say, a much better exit from the Alfa Romeo, but Keza using a bit of his battery to compensate for that. He's going to look to the outside line at turn 1. Owen's going to not give it up, though. And this is brilliant. Look how close they are on circuit in terms of not making contact. This is fabulous to see. Keza on the inside line in the McLaren. Gets a little slide on the exit of the corner. They're still side by side. As they approach, they hurtle towards turn number 6 here on the brakes. Keza around the outside and into the lead of the Grand Prix. Well, I said lead of the battle of the Grand Prix for third place. Goes Keza. This is good fighting between these two, and it's brought Ryan right into the thick of it. He's there as well, and credit where credit's due. So Spud on the medium tyres, keeping up with Ginger Tiger. So well done to him in 9th place. Dare I say it, a sprint point for Sir Spud? Who knows? It's not looking out of the question at all. But these three having a big fight. Now coming back to Cameron and Merck for the fight at the front of the Grand Prix. So far, 6/10. Just it seems that Merck's just got a bit of a better run out of turn number 13 than what Cameron Searle has. He will definitely close the gap. You'll see that come right the way down, but he's not going to be close enough for a move. Owen might be. Ryan might be. They might make this 3 wide into the next corner. Ryan backs out of it, but the Alfa Romeo, oh, look at that. Ryan, once again, he's going to try and nip up the inside. Could it be 2 people overtaking on the same corner? And he has done. And just like Cameron did at turn 1, Ryan gets 2 cars in the same corner. Owen and Keza are too busy watching one another. And it's going to look to the inside line at turn 1. Owen's going to hold the inside line. If Ryan can stay there, he might have a better run at turn 3. He does. He sends it back through. We'll ride on board with Keza. It'll come down to the traction from the corner. And I think the soft tyres are just working a bit more better at the moment. And that's the case. Ryan into 3rd. Brilliant racing. Ooh, that could have been very problematic from Owen. And in fact, it has actually caused him a few more dramas because Keza on the outside line at turn 7. Oh, he's gone off the road. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Well, that was such a good fight, but Keza, unfortunately, didn't look like there was any contact. Has gone right off the road. That is a shame. That was a great fight, but Keza is going to have to rejoin the circuit. He's down in 9th and out of the points. Well, here we go again then. Lap 9, the penultimate lap of the race. Cameron and Merck very close together. The DRS wing will now pop wide open here. And you can see the closing speed from the Haas looking at the inside, but that was very tactical from Cameron. He backed out of the throttle there. He didn't want to overtake Merck on this lap. And it's all going to be down to this final lap. 2 fights going on now. Merck for the race victory, Ryan for 3rd. And Keza's just got back past Sir Spud, who must be praying for a point tonight, must Sir Spud. Hopefully he can. Kez has proven he's very quick tonight, so Sir Spud will do well to keep up with him. But this is the main fight. This is what we're watching here in Invictus Racing League for the first race of the night at the sprint. It just seems Merck's got just a bit better traction than Cameron out of the slower corners, out of those progressive sweeping corners, out of turn 3 and turn 13, and even there again out of turn 6. I know that Cameron went a little bit deep, but it just seems the traction's with the AlphaTauri more than the Haas. Whether that's due to the setups or more of the inferences of the car itself, we will have to find out after the race. This is a huge moment. It's a big chance for Cameron to get a sprint win. It'd be one to get over on Merck. That gap at 6/10, he's going to have to fight very hard into turn 14. He's got to get this corner right. He's got to get his traction right out of here. Merck with a little wobble out of the corner, but he's not done badly at all as the AlphaTauri. He could be up and away. DRS will be available for Cameron, and the batteries on both of them are going. So here we go towards turn 14, effectively penultimate corner of the circuit. We can see the closing speed of the Haas. He's going to try and go around the outside at turn 14. Can't quite get it. He tries to duck underneath. He's not got the traction. Owen isn't close enough, I don't think, either, for third place. Mercked rounds the final corner. This is going to be so close at the line, but it will be Mercked who wins the sprint race here with Invictus. It's Cameron in second. Ryan will also get a podium. Good result for the Williams driver this evening. Owen in fourth. Nitrogash, what a good result that is for him in fifth. It's MDJ, it's Ginger Tiger. Keza is just going to beat Sir Spud to 8th place in the last point in the sprint. That is a shame. Sir Spud drove excellently in that race, has to be noted. Well done to him. But 9th it is in the end. Joe will be a frustrated 10th, as will Martin. We need to find out what happened with Martin in terms of why he had to go in the pit. I'm sure he had damage, but what caused it? Was there contact in that race? We'll have to catch up. But it's a familiar face at the top of the pile once again. Mercked with another victory. We have to total up all of his victories, including the sprint wins so far this season. But it's a very, very good... It was a very energetic opening round here for the sprint. And just to confirm, it is Mercked with the victory. Cameron Searle in second. Then it's Ryan, Owen and Nitrogash riding out the top 5. Then in 6th, it's MDJ with Ginger Tiger, Keza, Spud and Joe Hamster around out the top 10. Martin and Simon Palmer finishing a bit further back, with Atsu and Kent sadly retiring from the race. So we got, looks like a light cloud for this race here for the feature. So I want to give a quick shout out for our partners with Invictus Racing. A big thank you to Gridfinder for giving all of those opportunities for other leagues to go and explore if you wish to do so, in terms of on other games, including maybe Forza, if that's your choice of poison. Maybe you want to have a little look at some potential EA Sports WRC leagues that are going on out there, new games that have just released, of course. As I always say, Gridfinder, come and have a look. If you're watching us here tonight and you've not subscribed or you don't follow Invictus Racing League, please do come and have a look on Gridfinder, what we're all about. Check out the Discord, really good place to be. And also a big thank you to Venturi Studio as well for creating those wonderful graphics and turning your dreams into reality with those beautiful, stunning imagery that they create and let us use for our thumbnails and other media projects that we have going on here with Invictus. Our pit lane reporter, though, has just noted, thank you, for Mr. Potato, has just told us that we have a dry race ahead. So no messing about, no wet tyres, sadly. I was hoping for some wet rain action today, but that has just not been the case. If you are watching the stream though currently, please do make sure you like and subscribe. If you are doing already, it'd be great to have your additional support here in Invictus. Just helps the channel grow a little bit more and make us more visible to other areas of the world of the internet. So that's Keza, who's I think disconnected from the session, which is such a shame. Hopefully Keza can get back in. I don't know whether I would be able to invite him in. I'll have to have a look to see if I can. Whether I have him as a friend is another matter. Well, sadly, I don't think I do, so... No, that is a shame. I would have loved to have invited him back in, but hopefully he can get back into the lobby. We've got a dry race ahead of us, a 50% race. You're looking at roughly 28 laps. And there's been some split strategies through the tiers so far this week. Been having a chat with the drivers in terms of some drivers going from hard to medium, medium to hard. Some have even said that maybe a two-stop strategy with the fastest drivers might also work as well. We'll wait and find out whether that happens, of course. This is the Realistic Performance League. Anything can happen in this RP League, and it usually does. So let's see if anybody decides to do something just a little bit radical today for the feature. A lot of action though during now. Thankfully Keza has rejoined, which is really good to see. I'm glad he has. No issues there for him. So he should be able to retake his position in the McLaren because he's got back into the lobby before it permanently kicks him out. So I think that's what we were waiting on. And we should be getting started up again in just a few moments' time. We shall see what happens next. Let's have a look in the driver's room, in the driver's room. Now everyone's just having a good chat in the driver's room. It's all very friendly here in Invictus. Everyone having a good time, which is what it's about. It's not just about winning. It's not even just about taking part. It's about developing your skills as you get better and more equipped with league racing. We are about to go racing in just a few moments' time. Atsu has announced that we will be going. So we got the 5 red lights coming up here at China for round 11 of the season here at LP. And the race is live here in China. Looks like a good start for Merck once again, but it's Cameron who's under pressure from Owen into turn 1. That's a great start from Owen. He's going to go up into second place. That's fabulous from him. You've then got Cameron. You've got Ryan being squeezed a little bit on the inside. Looking at the tyre compounds, everyone's running slightly different hards and mediums, even a soft shod driver. I think it was Joe on the soft today. Oh, contact at the back. That I think is Simon who's gone round again. It's been a nightmare start. at China for him. Doesn't look as if he's got any damage and he's got going again, but he won't be happy about that at all. It's been a difficult day so far here at Shanghai, but Merck is already up and off the road, and Ryan wants to do something about that. Cameron is almost outside of DRS in the opening stages of this race. Then it's MDJ, it's Ginger Tiger, it's Keza, it's Joe Hamster, it's Martin. Kent up into 9th place after his DNF earlier. Nitro down to 10th. So definitely been a lot of changes in the opening lap. Let's try and get those details up if we can see the position change. There you go. Nitro Gash down 5 places and looking like he's going to lose another spot to Owen. So Owen, after being running up in P2, is all the way down in P10. So I haven't seen or caught what's happened there, sadly. But unfortunately for him, he's down in 10th place. Nitro Gash losing 6 places along with Owen. So Spud dropping down 3-2, and Simon Palmer, you can just see right the way in the background as Nitro moves up into 10th position. However, Owen fights that one back, and those two swap places once again. Owen, of course, running the soft tyre, so he needs to... Well, I say that, but Nitro re-overtakes him. I think maybe Owen might have forced him wide. Owen's got those soft tyres. He needs to try and get on passing these hard shod tyre drivers, because he's going to lose so much time. Otherwise, he's look at the inside, not quite close enough. Now he's going to look into turn 2, but Nitro shuts the door. Owen's going to have to box smart here to get past the Ferrari. He should have the traction here. He's got his nose alongside the rear left tyre. He's going to look on the outside then at turn 6, but Nitro, wow, that is a lovely cutback, but it wasn't lovely enough, and he flies off the road, and Nitro will take the place back. And so Spud is watching all of this as a harmless spectator, maybe even trying to look for a potential overtake there. Natsu, he's called it a day. His wheel's still not working. Owen on the inside at turn 9. That's a move you don't see very often, but that's the benefit of fresh, soft tyres. Having said that, with a big wiggle from Owen on the exit at turn 10, got to be using those tyres effectively, but now he's got a bit of work to do to get up to Kent and Martin. Joe Hamster, the other driver, on the soft tyres as well. He's in 7th. Keza in the top 6 with Ginger Tiger there in 5th place. Looks like a move between Ryan and Cameron. This is an important move for the race. For Ryan, he needs to get through. It looks like he's done that quite cleanly, actually. I think Cameron let him go. And maybe Cameron will decide to try and just hold on to Ryan, so that when Ryan closes the gap to Merck with his softer compound tyres, then Cameron can follow in his slipstream. DRS now active, of course. It's enabled. There you go. Just says it on the screen at the top for everybody who's watching the race. But Ryan now has the chance to try and go for Merck. It's big for the championship, this, because if Ryan outscores Merck, certainly would say championship fight is on. Certainly not out of the question at all just yet. Cameron a little bit under pressure from MDJ at the moment, who's also trying to fight back from a difficult sprint. Started in 6th place, did MDJ. He was another driver who was facing the wrong way earlier on in that sprint, but he's showing some good form already here in the opening stages of this race. We are already on lap 3. There's a lot of action that's gone on already. Keza is the last of this train of cars who are all within a second of one another. Ryan's got to get this exit spot on. He nearly lost DRS then, but he's got away with that. And this will just keep him in the loop with Merck and just put the pressure on him as we go through the rest of the Grand Prix. Cameron there in 3rd. He's got DRS. MDJ's got quite a quick car in a straight line. Not quite quick enough to threaten into turn 14. Ginger Tiger, then it's Keza, then it's Joe. That's this group. Then Martin and Kent. But admittedly, Owen is now going to be attacking Kent in the next lap or so, you would assume. A train of 7 cars altogether on circuit at the moment. It's good to see. Good to see such a competitive race so far. A nice mixture of rainbow tyres. And I said Owen was going to be attacking Kent on this lap. He's done more than attack him. He's overtook him. And he's into the top 10. Well, top 9 I was going to say. But look at this. Kent not giving it up at all. And they've both gone off the road. That looked like a bit of wheel locking between each other. I wonder if Owen's going to let that one go He's defending Nitro, so arguably he thinks he's in the right. We'll see what the stewards say about that one, but Kent, he was the one in the gravel trap. He won't be happy in the slightest. Merck, though, coming under increasing pressure from Ryan. Now that he's got the benefit of using DRS, Merckx won't really be able to pull away unless Ryan has a little mistake. But that medium tyre working so well here in China in the opening stages of the race. He's within half a second. In fact, he's already getting the gap right down. Ryan in the slipstream. This could be a move here for the race lead. Here comes Ryan in the Williams to the inside line. Merck puts up a semi-fight. And it's Ryan who goes on through. Nice pass. And into the lead of the race here in China. Cameron and MDJ, Ginger Tiger, Keza all together. Joe's just slipping out of DRS range. He is trying his hardest. Owen and Nitrogash having a big fight in 9th place as well. Now the thing with Merck is that he won't let Ryan go. He'll try and do his utmost to try and re-overtake him on this lap if he can. But there is a discernible difference between the mediums and the hards around here. It is about a second. And Ryan will have to try and put that to good practice. And he's got to use the tyre realistically from turn 6 onward. This is turn 6 right here. He's got to get a nice bit of traction out of that corner and then use the tyres through the long left and right corners before you get to the very tight and technical turns 9 and 10. You can see here that Merck has a different line to Ryan, but you want to keep the car as tight to that side as you possibly can. And that's exactly what Merck's doing, and he's keeping up with Ryan currently. Little slide from Ryan, but no harm done. And Merck will certainly want to repass for the race lead if he can. But the thing is that the hard is not the greatest tyre coming out of turn 13, and you can see that Ryan just edged away a little bit, but it's going to be tough for the Williams driver to defend from this. We switch to the exterior cam towards turn 14. DRS wing wide open. In the background, MDJ and Ginger Tiger trying to go past Cameron. There's a little bit of contact between Cameron and Ginger Tiger. Ginger Tiger backs out of it. Keza might get the chance to go through here. It's more than a chance, he has done. He's into 5th place. Runs a little bit deep into the final corner, but he'll get away with that one. And Merck, as I thought, didn't complete the pass at turn 14. So we were right to cut away when MDJ was overtaking Cameron and Ginger Tiger slipping back as well. But Merck putting that pressure on the Williams in front of him. I think if these two decide to work together, they could pull away from MDJ. He's only a second and a half behind as the Alfa Romeo driver, but if they wanted to do that, that is the mistake. Oh, Joe has lost it on the exit of turn 6, so he's going to tumble down the order. I wonder if he's got on the curb and it's just spun him round. Sadly for him. But as I was saying, yeah, Merck and Ryan might want to try and work together to pull away, but that probably won't happen because, as you can see, there's a certain Alfa Romeo that's got the DRS. Now Merck, this time around, he'll probably be thinking about overtaking Ryan. He'll have the DRS wide open. He's going to close that gap down dramatically, so Ryan's not even going to try and defend this one. He knows it's a done deal, and the AlphaTauri is back into the lead of the race here in China. And that's Keza going past Cameron for 4th place. Has he got through? It's close into turn number 16. But that is Cameron deposited down into 5th place. He's going to have Ginger Tiger not too far away with him shortly. Having said that, Cameron giving this a very good fight into turn 1. He's on the inside of Keza. Could go through here, but Keza using the grip of the... Oh, there's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. No problem, though. Cameron goes through. Although, admittedly, Cameron's in-car driver was very upset with that bit of contact, notably. But he's through. That's what matters to him at this moment in time. But so far, lots of action on circuit. Lap 7 of 28. We're a quarter distance here in China. MDJ has... Oh, He's found some speed, has MDJ. He's really putting the power down, using all of the canvas of that hard tyre. I've got to say also, this is a really competitive race for Spud. I know he's in the Red Bull. And farewell, I just said that because Kent's gone backwards as well. One thing that is notable about this China circuit on F123 is I feel like the grip levels on the tarmac are more towards F122 levels. I don't think the tarmac is as rubbered up compared to other tracks. Now, admittedly, because of COVID, China hasn't really been used in the last few years. That could be part of it. But I also think the physics are just slightly different around here because of the nature of the track, and whether it's also that alongside the usage of it will play a big factor. We shall see. But Ryan and MDJ and Merckx are all together. These three have pulled away from Cameron, so Cameron just not keeping up with the fight at present. But this is a long race. Kez has gone past Cameron as I say that, actually. So there's two groups of three on track. You've got the fight for the top spot, and you've got the fight for fourth position as well. Oh, and that is Kent retiring from the race. That's two retirements. And that's a safety car. Now, has Kent crashed on circuit? He's crashed in a very peculiar position, actually. It's down the main straight. It's quite far down the main straight. His AI's just gone. Wow, that'll be one to be looked at. But this is great for the guys who are on the soft tyres. They're going to be delighted with this. They will be ecstatic. For those that are running the hards, they're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage here because ideally they would have wanted an earlier safety car than this or a later one so that they could transition to the medium tyres. That can't happen. They can't pit now, run the mediums to the end of the race. Admittedly, having said that, you could potentially do the strategy of running mediums to the end, but the issue with that is that they're going to be so worn by the end of the race. It's going to take someone who's very good at nursing tyres to make that work. We shall see, though, in terms of what the pit strategy will be. Will the medium tyre runners of Ryan, Keza, Ginger Tiger and Simon Palmer decide to pit? Just to make a note, it's not Ryan trying to block MDJ, by the way. The delta around this circuit is very peculiar. And MDJ and Merckx have gone into the pits along with Ryan. In fact, it looks like everybody's going to come in. Oh, Cameron does not want to do a Lewis Hamilton. That was very close. Now, SFR Martin has decided to roll the dice. He's carrying on. As is the Ferrari of what looks to be Nitro Gash. He is going up to second place currently. And I think, who is that in the background? Is that Sir Spud? I think it is. Merckx, is he going to come out in front of Sir Spud? This is going to be tight at the pit lane. Wasn't as tight as I thought. And Ryan has got in front of Sir Spud as well. Or has he? No, I don't think he has. So Merckx will have a potato between himself and Ryan as they go do some battles once again. So Merckx has gone for the medium tyres. Now, when the safety car comes in, probably at the end of lap 11, he's going to have to run 17 laps on the medium tyres. If anyone can do it, it's our championship leader, but he will be vulnerable at the end of the Grand Prix, no doubt about it. Ryan's tyres will make it to the end comfortably, no problem. Same with Ginger Tiger, same with Owen. Keza, though, running a set of soft tyres. Now that, going from medium to soft. I wonder if he's going to go for another set of soft 20 pits again. Curious decision call, but I said at the start, before the start of the race, this could happen. We could see a rainbow of strategies and tyre options, and that is what we're getting. Simon Palmer also doing the same thing in the second Alpine on circuit. Joe's gone for the hard tyres. He'll be delighted with the safety car because he was cut off from the pack, so he can get caught up. So if you're just tuning in to Invictus Racing, the Realistic Performance League, we've got a safety car here thanks to the retirement of Kent, what looks to be beyond the exit of the final corner. We're not quite sure how or he's gone into the wall, but it has brought out the Mercedes AMG safety car. We've got Martin and Nitrogash deciding to stay out on hard tyres, gamble that this is the right strategy and hope that there's going to be another safety car later on in the Grand Prix. Merck was leading before the safety car, but he's in third. Then it's to Spud, Ryan, MDJ, Keza, Cameron, Ginger Tiger and Owen rounding out the top 10. Simon and Joe just coming up to the back of the safety car. They're about a corner away. And if they get caught up quickly enough, we might be able to go at the end of this lap. And if that's the case, it'll be 18 laps worth of racing to the end, hopefully flat out with no other safety cars. And those that are on the mediums, which are Mercked, MDJ and Cameron, they're going to have to work hard to keep those compounder tyres alive till the end. We are just also past the third part of the distance. The third of the race distance has been completed. We're on lap 10. And there's still a lot that can change in this race. It's a very good opportunity for drivers to take advantage here of some strategic decisions made by other drivers. I think Sir Spud is going to be the potential wild card in the pack here, running up in fourth. How long is it going to take for the drivers to go past him? How long is it going to take for the drivers to get past Nitrogash and Martin? Because those two, as well as Spud, they're no slouches. Safety car in this lap. And it comes down to Martin to set the pace. Now I'm just going to put the telemetry on. I know that we don't typically, but you can see the issue that Martin has. Sometimes the game will limit the amount of throttle that you can have, and you can see it happening right now. Martin's got his foot right down, but the game potentially is the one that's causing him to blip it. But having done it for that long, I don't think that might be the case. I think he might be doing it himself. We'll ride on board with Nitro because he's the one who's directly behind Martin. He's going to have to react quickly, try and fight him towards turn number 1. Safety car is now just going into the pit lane, and Martin will be waiting for the last possible opportunity to go, and he's gone now. That's a good start. He just caught Nitro a little bit unawares. He's got to nail this final corner, which it looks like he has done, but Merck's done it even better than Nitro. Going to have to fight. That is Keza going backwards. I'm not sure what's gone on. Keza's in the pits actually. I don't know if he's got damage, but Merck trying to get on with this early on. Ryan and MDJ are past the Spud already, and Merck on the inside of Nitrogash for second place. He makes contact with Martin, and Ryan's just picked up a 5-second time penalty for ignoring a yellow flag. Now, I'm being honest, I didn't see one out on circuit, but if that's the case, he might want to dispute that. I didn't see one out there. Nitrogash going backwards because MDJ not only is going to try and follow Ryan through, he's also going to snatch fourth away from Nitro. Those hard tyres, they'll be fine in terms of grip, but they just won't have the same level of grip that the Alfa Romeo and the Williams have right now. And Merck wants to get on with this. He wants to get past Martin ASAP because he's all over the back of the Williams. He's going to want to do this before turn 12. And he does, and he's up into first place. So into the lead. Didn't take Merck long, did it, to get through. Martin is going to be vulnerable here to Ryan on the inside of turn 13. That's a move done for Ryan. Little massive wiggle for Martin, but he just about survived it. There's a yellow flag out there. I think that's just someone going a bit slowly. I think it's Nitro's had a problem. Oh, look at this towards turn 14. They're going to try and make it 3 wide. Merck's holding on. He's going to brake a lot later than everybody else. He's going to hold that position. Martin's trying to hang on, but MDJ is going to be there alongside him. They're going to both follow Ryan through, and that is move done from MDJ. Martin tried to make it 3 wide and held on for as long as he could, but he just couldn't quite do it. And he's got Cameron there on the inside of turn 1. Cameron brakes a little bit later. There isn't much that Martin could do about it. And in the space of just 8 corners, Martin goes from race leader to 5th place man, and he'll have Owen and everybody else behind him for company shortly. That's MDJ at the inside of Ryan for second place, so using the medium tyres to good effect already. But watch out for Ryan later in the race. His tyres will be in a much better condition than what these three around him of Merckx, MDJ and Cameron. He'll have tyres that are much better at that point later in the race. Let's see how he gets on. He'll do well to keep up with this leading duo, which could look to become a leading trio of medium shod runners. And that's Owen going past Martin, and same move that Martin received from Merckx before turn number 11 into 12. For Ginger Tiger, those hard tyres of Martin's, they look like they're having such difficulty. As you go on to the back straight once more. And that's Cameron going past Ryan for third place, and Ryan's just got to get his head down, try and keep up with these guys. They're going to be quicker than him. Owen and Martin having a big fight. But it's Owen moving ahead of the Williams once more. Just retains that position. But as I was saying about Ryan, he just needs to keep up with these guys. If he can hang on to the DRS with these guys, he can stay in this fight later on in the race. Nitro's in the pit lane, so his gamble sadly hasn't paid off. He'll drop to the back of the field. But now the tactical fight starts to happen. Now they're going to see how the medium compounds and the hard tyre compounds react over the next 15 laps. MDJ. Oh, that's right. Cameron's gone round, I think. Yeah, he spun it. Well, I was praising Cameron. But unfortunately, he's gone facing the wrong way round. It's just not worked out for him, sadly. That is a shame. But he drops backwards. Now, it's kind of a relief for the front two because they won't have to deal with Ryan sitting in the DRS all the time. So Ryan's going to really have to knuckle down now and try and hold on. We'll see whether that 5-second penalty gets removed. I have to say it's a bit odd. I didn't see a yellow flag. I don't know why he got one. But he might. Who knows? Ginger Tiger. Closest fight running towards turn 14. Down this main straight, he's going to be past SFR Martin as easy as you like. Into the top 5. It's a nice solid run this from Ginger Tiger. He'll be pleased with his performance thus far. Joe Hamster and Simon, they're all together. They're all closing that gap right down now. Ooh, Simon's got so much grip. Compared to everybody in front of him, he'll have the best tyre at this point in the race. And he looks very quick at the moment. For Martin, it will be a case of just trying to hold on to those hard tyres for as long as he can. Maybe try and go for the softs at the end. Oh, look at this from Simon up the inside of Joe Hamster. That's a little bit of contact between the two, but I was going to say it was a good move from Simon. They're both really going wheel to wheel towards turn 6. Simon's trying to go around the outside. He needs a better traction than Joe. He'll have the line for turn 7. You don't really see two cars go side by side, and sure enough, Simon goes and overtakes Joe for 8th position. And that's Simon now in 7th place. And Cameron, the recovering Cameron Searle, trying to get through these squabbling cars. But Simon will be the one potentially looking for a move. Oh, what a lunge from Simon into turn 11. And he's into the top 6. But has he done that too early? He'll be vulnerable with the DRS back at the front. MDJ, look at the closing speed from the Alfa Romeo. This is a move for the race lead. MDJ on the medium tyres overtakes his medium shod friend. And Simon did that move all wrong. It was a great lunge. Unfortunately, he's not even going to be in 7th place. He's down to 8th and Joe is back in front. And that is Cameron off the road and round. I wonder if Cameron got caught out by a little bit of movement in the breakers. He's also got a time penalty for rejoining the track. I hope that gets rescinded because that was... he was just spinning the car around. That's a real shame. So, Simon Palmer, once again, we're back to him in the Alpine. He wants to get past Joe. He runs into the back of Joe. And a little bit of patience from the Alpine driver. He just needs to wait and bide his time and dive at the right moment. Rather than doing what he is currently, which looks a little bit rash. He can certainly drive. Everyone can drive a lot better than they are doing right now. It's not a criticism, it's just everybody always can do. And Simon, on those soft tyres, can use the grip advantage through these next few corners and line it up on the exit of turn 13 to go past the Mercedes. He should be able to do that. You can see how quick the soft tyres are compared to the hard tyres, but there's that little bit of grip loss that can just catch you out on the softs around here. And he closes the gap right back up. I'm watching the gap between MDJ and Merckx. I'm going to cut forward. Looks like there's going to be another change for the lead. Merckx with the DRS wide open. It's going to go to the inside line, and that is move complete. MDJ goes back into second place. And a bit further backwards, here comes the Alpine Simon to the inside line. That Mercedes is quick in a straight line, I have to say. Oh, they are really heavily leaning on one another there, but Simon is through into sixth place. MDJ was close. That was a close moment between them. Gap was less than a tenth of a second there. These two, though, they got free. And Joe's gone back past Simon. So Joe's got a very quick car in a straight line, but Simon does not want to yield. Neither of them want to yield, but Simon is back in front now. But Mercedes of Joe was very quick in a straight line today. You saw that Simon couldn't actually get past the Mercedes with DRS, so shows you how quick Joe's car setup is. So, lap 16 will refocus our efforts at the front of the field. It's MDJ and Merckx having a big squabble. And it's Ryan in third place. He's going to pick up another podium as it stands. But having said that, we need to question the 5-second time penalty. I am questioning it, I have to say. I think it didn't look like there was a yellow flag out there. We'll see what the game says. We'll see what the stewards say about it. That Simon and Joe are still fighting hard together. These two are having an unbelievable fight. They are kicking 7 bells out of one another, I have to say. They'll probably be both a bit annoyed with one another, I reckon. Joe taking the safe route of not spinning the car on the curbs there. But they are kicking 7 bells out of one another. I think they'll be both a bit annoyed with each other's robustness of the moves, we shall describe it. But because they fought so hard, they're now 5.5 seconds behind Ginger Tiger, who's given free licence to go and fight with Owen for 4th place. Nitrogash running in 12th place. His new medium tyres are bringing him ever closer to Keza. So Spud is the only driver out there who's yet to make a pit stop. I wonder if Sir Spud is just hoping for a safety car. That's his gamble. It would take something special for that to happen, but not improbable. Now, we know that Merckx got a very good line out of the final turn 13, onto the final corner, onto the main back straight here at China. And look at the gap, 6/10. He's got a really nice arced line through there as the AlphaTauri driver, and it just puts him out of arm's length from the Alfa Romeo behind him. They're both tactically saving their battery until the last lap of the race, inevitably for these two. Ryan's on his own in third. Owen coming under a little bit more pressure from Ginger though now. Gotta say, this is Ginger's best drive I've seen in a while. Really nice to see Ginger Tiger up there fighting for it. What could be a podium, depending on what comes of Ryan's penalties. And it's the two, well, I was just about to say the two kicking 7 bells out of one another, but Simon has now pitted. He's going to go for another set of tyres. So that promotes Cameron Searle recovering back into 7th place. A Spud, he carries on. That's a new set of soft tyres. Red Wall Pirellis going on the side of the Alpine for Simon. See where he feeds back out. He's probably going to come out in front of Nitrogash, and Kez has got a time penalty. I wonder if he cut the inside of the pit lane there. Because I just watched his icon flash up, and then now he's got another 5-second pass. It's gone from bad to worse for Keza, sadly, tonight. Hasn't been his evening. But there we are. 10 laps to go now here in China. We're looking at roughly 50 kilometres of action still remaining. And MDJ just cannot get the same line that MDJ, or rather Merckx, has in front of him. MDJ trying his utmost. He's got the DRS. He's going to fill the mirrors of Merckx, but he won't do any more than that. He can't look at a move. Tell you who can, though. Ginger Tiger is up to 4th place. He's looking very good tonight, Ginger. Has to be noted. I've really been impressed with his drive so far. Oh, he ran very deep, though. This will give Owen a sniff into turn 1. If he gets his line right out of turn 16, this will give the Alfa Romeo man another opportunity. He's a bit of understeer through the corner, though. I think Ginger Tiger might just fight him off towards turn 1. Looks like that'll be the case as we approach the corner, and it is the case. And Cameron picks up a time penalty. There's loads of penalties starting to appear now. And whilst this might not be the most obvious circuit for time penalties, there are a few locations and corners here where you can get caught out. The final corner, you can run a little bit too wide. I know that the penultimate, well, turn 14, the hairpin, if you run a little bit too deep there, you can get a penalty. And the exit of turn 10, which is what we're coming to now. This is turn 9, the left-hander. The exit of turn 10, if you run a little bit too wide here, that is very strict with penalties. MDJ keeping his nose dry for now. He's just shadowing Merckx as best as he can. Simon is past Sir Spud. It looks as if he's got through. And the Alpine gains another spot. Those hard tyres of Spud, I'm very impressed with how long he's managed to make them last. But I fear it's just not the right strategy for him. MDJ not close enough to Merckx to fight back. I'm looking to see Owen looks quite far back as well. I think the next fight we're going to be seeing shortly is Cameron and Joe Hamster for 6th position. Just a couple of little fights on circuit now. No big fights just yet. We are entering the last quarter of the race, and we are at that point where we're just getting ourselves into position. MDJ was close again to the back of Merckx, but he is biding his time. There's Ginger Tiger. This is currently the fight for the net 3rd place on at the end because of Ryan's 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. And Sir Spud does finally pit, so the Red Bull man into the pit lane. He's going to put a new shiny set of soft tyres on, and he's just going to have fun for these last few laps. Wonder if he'll come out in front of the McLaren of Keza. That's going to be quite close, actually. Let's just watch. I'm just watching the icon. I think Keza's going to go through, and that's the new fastest lap from Keza. Yeah, and he already has got past the Red Bull. So Keza up to 11th, and he's just going to be getting his points now. That fastest lap point will mean something to him. He won't be pleased with how it's gone tonight in the slightest, but he's there anyway, getting some points. MDJ, that's the closest he's been to the back of Merckx. So has MDJ just been trying to save his tyres a little bit. What is also interesting is that Ginger Tiger, ever so slightly, is bringing the gap to Ryan. It's only 2.2 seconds. It was 2.5 before. The Alpine, these two need to remember though that there's a potential podium here on the offing. And these two drivers will be thinking about that. They know that that's an availability for them, but so they can't fight now. They've got to wait. Oh, snap of oversteer for Owen. I said the next fight that was going to get close was Cameron and Joe, and that is the situation we see here as we go around turn 3, the left-hander, into the little turn 4, which is just, we've already gone past it. The kink at turn 5, which is completely flat in these conditions. Ooh, Cameron running very deep into turn 6. Locking the tyres a little bit. Simon Palmer's going to be right with SFR Martin in a moment. So two-stop looks to be working okay for Simon. There's a penalty for Spud out there. Now, onto the back straight go our race leaders at the front of the field. And MDJ is deliberately not running in the slipstream of Merck. So it's a tactical decision not to try and go through. Owen, though, no such tactical decisions. He's going for it. Slipstream, DRS wide open. The wing clear as day. And Ginger just lets him go. And these two, maybe that's a signal of working together. Now, can Cameron do the same move on Joe Hamza? I think he's a bit too far away. In fact, Joe is pulling away. And I said this before, Joe seems to have a very quick car in a straight line tonight. It might be a little bit more difficult to overtake him than people would realise. And the other driver who's flying through, it's Simon Palmer on those soft tyres, now within a second of Martin. He'll get DRS here. That's where the drag reduction system detection point is. That gap visibly coming down. It'll come down corner by corner because he's got so much grip and a light car right now. We are getting a few more clouds here in China. It does look a little bit more overcast. Whether it'll rain heavy enough before the end of the race, if it does decide to, is another matter. But we're watching Simon. We'll watch Cameron as well, and the fight for P1. But Simon wants to get on with this. He's still got good tyres. He might just yet catch the fight up front for 6th place. Again, not improbable at all. We'll cut forward again. MDJ in the slipstream this time. Owen is now almost within a second of Ryan. MDJ closing, but not enough. And in fact, Owen's managed to drop Ginger Tiger, so that is impressive. Oh, so much wheel spin for Joe. Then a huge slide out of turn 13. But look at the speed that the Mercedes has. That's mightily impressive. Cameron, though, won't care much for it. He'll want to look to go through. He brakes a little bit later, but he's not there. Simon goes through for 8th place. And the other thing is that one thing to note is that SFR Martin, despite the fact that he's just been rapidly passed by Simon, he is also catching Cameron and Joe, because their tyres, the two behind that we're following on screen here, their tyres are so much fresher than Joe and Cameron that they're going to be vulnerable. Even if Cameron does get in front of Joe, having a good could be a good 4-way fight here if things proceed as they are looking. Everybody else after Martin in a battle of their own to get to the end without any incidents. Does look like it's about to rain here in China, but right now, completely bone dry circuit. Cameron just biding his time. MDJ has done his tactic again of not trying to overtake into turn 14, but Owen is right there. He's got DRS. It's the first time that Ryan's been under pressure in the whole race since we got underway from the restart. And Owen's going to have to just sit in behind for the time being. This is now Cameron's chance to try and go past. I wonder if Cameron is deliberately staying behind Joe. Because I feel like that Cameron could go... Oh! Well, he's definitely not deliberately staying behind him anymore. That is so far off the road. He got that completely wrong, did Cam. And that is him out of the top 6 fight. And down into 9th. I was about to say, I wonder if Cameron's staying behind. He's gone into the pits for a new set of tyres. But I was going to say, is Cameron deliberately staying behind to just follow Joe and then blast past him on the last lap of the race with a bit of battery? But that is no longer the theory in the slightest. And Nitro Gas is going to get him for 9th place. 5 laps to go here in China. This race is far from over. Lot going on. Simon Palmer now arriving on the scene with Joe Hamster running in 6th position. But this has been a good display from our drivers tonight. It's been really good battles in the feature race. I've really enjoyed commentating on this so far. It sets us up well for Canada next week, which is a very different type of circuit to this one. And I imagine there'll be a lot more mistakes around there. MDJ still pushing the back of that AlphaTauri rear wing. Owen, I feel that Owen might have to get this move done on circuit. I just have this feeling that Ryan's 5-second penalty isn't a thing, from what I can tell. I sound convinced. I could be completely wrong. But Owen, look at the closer speed. Owen's getting on with it. He must have heard me in comms. He's on the inside of Ryan as we approach turn 1 and turn 2. He's got the inside line and he shuts the door out for Ryan to try and nip back in. And Owen is up to 3rd place and Ryan's going to have to dig deep and get back past. Ginger Tiger, still a really good display tonight, but he's just fallen away from that fight, and that is Simon and Joe Hamster having another Barney again in the fight for 6th position. These two have been fighting all the way through this Grand Prix. They've been having a very close number of battles between the two of them. Now Simon's tyres at this point in the race, you know, he's done 7 laps on them. They'll still be better than these old hard shod tyres, but they won't be at their peak performance. They'll be nowhere near that now. I'm just going to cut right forward because at the front, this is the closest that we've seen MDJ. And Merck might have to think about going defensive. In fact, he isn't. And that's MDJ on the inside at turn 14. Goes and brakes a little bit later than the AlphaTauri, but the AlphaTauri should have the better traction off the corner because of the opening line through there, and he goes back through. But MDJ is now putting the pressure on Merck. He's going to go for the inside line at turn 1. The Alfa Romeo is looking to go through, but Merck is not giving it up. He's going to have to slot him behind, and he does indeed. Ryan also very close to the back of Ginger Tiger, so these two are going to fight to the end of the race. That is Martin past Joe Hamster for 7th position, and those hard tyres looking quite second hand at this point. I wonder if Cameron will catch Nitro Gash, because he's on 1 lap on soft tyres, Cameron. Nitro Gash is on deadly old as Joe goes back past Martin. He's had some resilience as Joe Hamster tonight. He's really showing his resolve. Really impressive. But MDJ in the lead of the race. Now, tactically, will he play this in a way that I think he will? Will he let Merck go through on lap 26, the one that we're on now, and then sit behind him until the final corner? Here we are at turn 13. And again, Merck, just that better traction off the corner. He just seems to have a really good line through there. He's got the DRS. He's a lot closer than earlier on when he overtook MDJ previously in the race, and that's a move done. But is that part of MDJ's strategy? It's all going to be settled in the next 2 laps. This is going to be thrilling to watch. Ryan trying to do the same thing. He's been saving himself for the last few laps too. Ginger Tiger just waiting for any calamities to happen in front of him. Martin this time on Joe Hamster. We don't know which side Joe Hamster's in. Look at the speed. Look at the straight line speed. Martin cannot get alongside the Mercedes. He's going to have to fight very wily. Yes, nice move from Martin. Really well done. Into 7th place. Joe's been really combative today. I've really been impressed watching Joe's fighting. But he's running out of tyre grip now at this point. But he's not giving up. That Mercedes is a missile in a straight line. It's unbelievably quick. It might not have the grip in the corners. It might be struggling with traction, but Joe just seems to have. He just seems to be able to step on a bomb for traction, and Martin is struggling with the grip now on 12 lap old tyres. This is great to watch. Loads of fights on circuit. The penultimate lap of the race. We come round turn 13. One more time after this. And MDJ is just waiting for his chance. But he's got to get up under the rear wing of Merckx if he wants to win this race. If he wants to stop the clock on Merckx's winning streak. Owens almost broke the DRS on Ryan. Although I think he has actually. There's no rear wing open for the Williams. But he is closing the gap down. After Ryan using a bit of battery. That would have been it. So this is it. This is it then. This is the final lap of the race. Martin's going to try and go and overtake for 8th position. I don't think he's got enough battery to get past. But MDJ now is using all of his nous. Can he go past Merckx for another race win this season? Martin's passed Joe Hamster. He's actually done it. But Joe's fighting back. I know we're watching the other screen. Let's cut back a little bit. Yeah, Martin's in front. But we're going to ride on board with Joe because this is the missile we've been talking about. He ran wide out the final corner. That might have just cost him. Here he goes. All of the deployment available. He looks to the inside, but he's not there. And in my question earlier, Cameron did get past Nitrogash, by the way. But this is it. This is where it comes down to. These next two corners are critical for both drivers. They're both on the battery. They both recognise how important this is. MDJ's got to stay within half a second. It looks like he's done well here, actually. Merck's going to be on the power. He gets a good exit, does Merckx. But he won't have the opportunity to defend from the slipstream and the DRS power, I don't think. MDJ's going to come up to the outside at turn 14. It's a move for the race lead. He's going to defend the inside line. Merck's going to look to the outside line in the number 80. But he just can't get on the power. He needs to try and look for the inside at the final corner. I don't think he can. Ryan's re-overtaken for 3rd place. And MDJ, thanks to Merckx running wide, is going to win the race here at China. It's Merckx in 2nd, but look at this for 3rd. This is so tight into the final corner. And it's just about going to be Owen who takes the podium away from Ryan, who's going to be so gutted about that. That was such a good fight in the final couple of corners, but it's not to be for Ryan. He'll be 4th, potentially, depending on whether that penalty goes his way or not. So it's Ginger Tiger, though. I still maintain, great race from him tonight. Really did well. Simon Palmer has just crossed the line. He's got Martin only just behind, thanks to the time gaps. Joe Hamster in 8th. Cameron in 9th. And that is Nitro, who will be the last of the top 10 finishes. Take a breath, everyone. That was some race. We still wait. We've just got a couple of cars coming over the line. That's the Spud going across the line at 11th. And Keza, what might have been for him this evening, he's going to have to lick his wounds and go again next week. But that was wonderfully frantic action there in the last laps. Really great to watch. Lots of action. Simon gets driver of the day. Made a lot of overtakes, did Simon. I think he'll be pleased with the overtakes that he made. And there is our race winner at the top of the podium steps there. We've also got MDJ in the party. We'll have a chat with him in a moment. We'll also get some comments from Merckx and from Owen, our podium finishers. And they're just celebrating out there. Alfa Romeo boys going crazy. It's good result as well for AGS too. So let us all have a look at the finishing results then here in China. It's a victory for MDJ on the final corner. Pretty much there, with Merckx in 2nd, Owen 3rd, Ginger Tiger in 4th place. It's Ryan in 5th, with Simon in 6th place, Martin, and then Joe in 8th place. Nitro and Cameron round out the top 10. In terms of everybody else who finished, it's a Spud in 11th and Keza, and then further back, retiring sadly from the race, you have Kent and Atsu. So I'm delighted to be having a... In fact, I'm just having a look to say that Owen said he's had a problem with his game minimizer, and we'll have to see what he says about that shortly. But this was a great race, really, really good to see. How everybody was having a good fight. Really, really was pleasing to watch. I really enjoyed that one. And I'm always delighted to speak to people in the commentary booth, and I've got MDJ here to have a chat. Our race winner. MDJ, you must be delighted with that result. Last lap, timed it well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was well timed. Not gonna lie, I didn't think I was gonna be on this kind of position. I mean, after yesterday, where I had no pace at all, I came back for a win. So
tell me about how you were able to time that so well. Were you always planning for that to happen at the final lap, or were you just going as it went?
Well, 3 laps after the safety car, I was already thinking about waiting for the last lap, but I also just wanted to make a fight, but I was also thinking about the tires because I needed to be managed, and normally the tires would already go 15 laps, now we did like 20 or so. So we were managing a lot with those tires, and I noticed that Merckx was sliding a lot more than me, so so he had worse tires than me, so I used advantage of it and got a better axle on the corner, and I got him at the end of the straight.
Yeah, I mean, you timed it really well and clearly planned it out nicely. How bad were the tyres come the end of that race? Because I was saying in the commentary box that those tyres of yours, and I think it was Cameron who before he spun out, and Merckx, how bad was the tyre percentage at the end? How were you able to manage them for as long as you did?
I think the tires were like around 70 or 80.
Wow.
And yeah, the only reason, the only way for me to manage them was stay behind Merckx and get out of his line on the straights to cool them down.
Okay.
And then braking earlier and going on the throttle a bit more slower. So.
Did you have, because I've got a question about this. It's actually quite a personal question, because I was racing in Tier 4 earlier this week, and I noticed that with the setup that I was running, my tyres in terms of the mediums and the hards were they were on the verge of overheating through the middle sector. Did you have that problem as well in terms of the setup that you ran?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think anyone has like good tire temperature throughout the race.
Well, that's good to know. I was curious about that because I knew that sometimes around China that they can be very difficult to keep under temps, but I wanted to know whether that was a setup specific thing or not. But you've just answered my go.
You can do stuff to go it away, but it will make your car slower.
Yeah. Yeah, that is for sure. If we have a look at the driver standings from, we are round 11 of the season. We've only got 4 to go after this. Canada next week. I know that Qatar, Australia, and Japan are also coming up. You're going into tonight. You were sat in 5th place. A race win. Cameron's not in the top 10. Owen is in 3rd place. Do you think that you can get on the podium come the season end? Do you think you can join Ryan in the top 3?
I mean, after missing the last race, I'm not thinking about a championship at the moment, so
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
That was a very diplomatic answer. I appreciated that, to be honest. But in any respect, MDJ, thanks for joining me. It's always a delight to speak with yourself, and well done on that last lap overtake. It was absolutely well timed, and congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, now obviously, in terms of our other podium finishers, Merckx and Owen, unfortunately they won't be able to join us in the commentary box, but I have got some comments from them to have a chat. So Owen, who finished in third place, he said, GG to the guys in front, those mediums can't have felt good at the end, which MDJ confirmed. He also said, really happy with a podium after his game minimised on lap 1, sending him to the back. So that's what we didn't see. He got up to second and then just disappeared out of nowhere. Owen then says, worked with Ginger Tiger for a bit in the second stint, that went after Ryan and managed to keep position on the last lap, which was very much the case. Good to see. Merckx, who finished second, he said, race went as well as it could have. I think MDJ has the pace on me today, with the AlphaTauri being a tricky car to drive on this track. A lot of managing tyres in the second stint, just glad to have finished with no puncture. Congrats to both MDJ and Owen. Well, that is all of the comments then that we have got from our Realistic Performance League drivers. A big thank you to MDJ as well for joining me in the interview area there. Another good race victory for him this season, and who knows how the championship standings might play out in a few weeks' time. Do tune in, of course. Next week we are, as I've already mentioned, at Canada for round 12 of the season, the fourth to last race of the season. We're getting close to the season end, and Merckx will be getting twitchy feet, I imagine, about trying to secure a championship title here with the Realistic Performance League at Invictus Racing. Do tune in, of course, throughout the rest of next week, because we'll have more action going on. Everybody else, of course, will be also racing in Canada. And thank you once more to our partners, Gridfinder and to Venturi Studio. Great to have them on board, and we look forward to being in partnership with them for the rest of the season. But for tonight's action, and from me, Jack TM53, that is it. And I do hope you've enjoyed what has been a thrilling set of races. It's been a delight and a treat to commentate on, as always. But wherever you might be in the big wide world, do have a pleasant evening wherever you are, and we'll see you next week.